Established in April 2021, Upland Development United is the oldest and most exclusive and transparent node development collaborative in the Upland Metaverse. Contact Morecheese at 68 for more information. Warning! This podcast is produced by Metaverse Ventures Entertainment. It contains unsolicited and heavily biased opinions which are solely the views of the individuals involved. It does not include investment advice of any kind, and you are responsible for undertaking your own financial, including tax liability research relevant to your own individual circumstances.
Bit of a Metaverse spotlight on the whole home addresses situation arriving in Upland. Now, Cheese did touch on this, and she kind of outlined some of the journey that you went through for trying to decide where you were going to go. And I think I said in the Wine and Cheese show, you were like that kid with the cookie, the gift with the cookie. You didn't know which cookie to bite into.
I was.
But you've bitten the cookie.
I bitten the cookie. See, like, all right, so I don't understand. I don't think, like, they have this leaderboard for absolutely no reward whatsoever.
Yep.
On who has the most people in their node. I don't think that means anything, to be quite honest, of how many different addresses you have in your node. For me, I personally think the less people you have in your node and the more ownership from the leader is more ideal in regards to making decisions about your node, unless you know every single one of those people that are there and you all have a plan. Now, I would have been the only person in my node, but I think it would have been amazing. I think it's going to be amazing that the fact that UDU has so many different nodes, so much different reach, we can kind of put our views along with other people out there everywhere.
Yep.
And I think that was like one of the main things we wanted in a UDU, to kind of bring about, value to Upland, fairness, good leadership, yada yada. Like, no cult stuff, promise. But like, see, if the UDU keeps doing these nodes and we only have like a few addresses within the nodes, I think that's more ideal than having, a whole bunch of them.
Yeah,
I'm not really great with words, so if you can kind of add to that.
Well, I think Scooby and the Icon podcast, they did a bit of a deep dive into this whole situation. That's definitely worth going and checking out. Yeah, and we talked about this internally with the UDU. It would have been very hypocritical of us, where since the UDU started, we've been actively encouraging our members to, start new node projects or new community projects, whether that be within the UDU or external to the UDU. Would have been very hypocritical for us to encourage that and then say, hang on a minute, no, now you need to come and make your home in Midtown Terrace. So that's not what we're about at all. And you're right, it doesn't mean anything. And what I think my biggest takeaway from this is that, and it makes perfect sense to me, is all of the new nodes are at the top of the leaderboard. That makes perfect sense to me, because you're talking about the most actively engaged user base. There's plenty of what we call the old guard in the UDU who we haven't seen a sign of for several months. And that goes for a wide range of all of the OG San Francisco communities. Like, there's only one other San Francisco project in the top 20, and that's Out of Sunset, which, funnily enough, Out of Sunset is a failed node project. It just happens that Out of Sunset is so massive that if you wanted to do your home address in San Francisco and you're not attached with an then that would kind of make sense. So, and it becomes a snowball effect too. Like, we've seen that and we've talked about this too internally, Portage Park. People are going to see Portage Park at the head of the leaderboard, and they're going to be naturally curious about that, or Century City, or any of these ones. They're going to investigate, and they're more likely to try and get involved in that. So I don't take this as much of anything. So that was one of the takeaways I took from this. The other takeaway that I took from this leaderboard is how few people have actually bothered to set a home address. Like, we've got 697 neighborhoods that have been nominated, and the numbers quickly go down to the ones. There's, several dozen neighborhoods that are only one person's nominated that as the home address. So the numbers are extremely low for the game. That's, we're out there spruiking that we have, 300,000 active monthly users, and we have maybe 2,000 people have set a home address. That's eyebrow raising.
I don't know. I think it's more ideal to have as few addresses as possible, but all of them.
Yeah. And we don't know how that's going to play out as far as, the neighborhood rating score for collection spawnings and all that sort of thing. Our whole thing, hang on, Joe said in chat here, he added it up yesterday and it was around 2,700. Yeah. So 2,700 out of what is being spruiked as around the 300 to 350,000 active monthly users. Wow. Is that a reflection of how many people are really engaged, or is that just a reflection of how many people have completed the KYC process? Because I know several dozen people that I associate closely with through all of this Upland stuff who don't want to KYC at all. So, and Radish has made a good point there too about structures. So you needed to have a structure as well before you could nominate. So, I mean, if you're this far into the game and you haven't got a structure, I mean, what have you been doing?
And to be fair, I get it. Some people join in and they want to play for free. That's not contributing to me or the community. So I really couldn't care. I know that's really blunt, but that's, it's a game. At the root of it, it's a game. If you want to play for free, that's your bag. It's your bag. And that has nothing to do with me. I'm not going to donate. If I see somebody who put in 50 and is still FSA, then I'm going to help you out. I'm going to all right, this person is serious. They really want to get involved, but I'm not going to really go out of my way to make something extremely easy for somebody who doesn't want to put any money at all into the game and expect the world back. It's for me, that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And
or UPEX.
Yeah, Radish has kind of touched on that as well, saying, there's so many people that have very low spark amounts, so they don't have a structure yet. Yeah, so that makes sense. We've also had people kind of allude to the fact, you're going to lose control of your node because you don't have enough nominated residential addresses, and we kind of addressed that last week. If you want to nominate your address in a node out of spite, go for it. That's awesome. And Zoe said she had to trade to set hers. So, and yeah, as you just said in chat, that Spark is pretty cheap at the moment. So
yeah,
think about fast tracking a little chode home at the very least. So yeah, we'll see. And our whole thing with our nodes, and especially Midtown Terrace, is we have been told there's going to be a renting system, and we have put our plans, long-term plans in place to support that. If it turns out that we get a year down the track and renting is not a thing, then we'll deal with that when it comes to fruition. You can only really play the game with the cards that you dealt. So we'll cross those bridges when we come to them.